Welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute. It's been a minute, hasn't it? This is Grace or Gibby. Gonna be here playing the game, chatting about the game, chatting about the latest updates, and especially this war, among other things. I'm actually gonna pause so I can just read all the lore because I know a lot of people aren't interested in that. But I'm gonna be talking about the items, the nightmare plate, some things that have annoyed me lately about the game. Where I've been a little bit. I mean, it's only been a week, but like I have been very busy. That's what I'll chat about. Just that kind of stuff. So I'll be right back after the lore, and I'll see you guys at the monster fighting. Okay, so here we are. These are the color custom warper boards. Nothing too crazy. I'm probably gonna go for them unless I end up very busy. God Scourge, Frogzard, Sentinel. Okay, these guys look pretty cool, I won't lie. Casualties of the war against pestilence, these victims of the scourge are being forced to lash out against their own allies with the dark plagues. Okay. Well, I'll show you what I'm going to be running with. So I'm going to be running with Rust Reaver, which is a weapon, temp weapon from the Umazin Uprising War. And it's a temp weapon, and what it does is it seeks against armored targets, element seeks, and I think it includes harm as well, but I'm not quite sure. We'll see. But that's the plan. The plan is, oh my god, the lag. Okay, put on low quality for a little bit, maybe medium. Should be okay. I'm going to be using an element seeking weapon, beast form, not something you haven't seen before. Definitely not as efficient as H series, but you know me, I like to be different. Also, we're gonna put it on low, I think. Yeah. So just hanging out, warring. Turn off ready inventory. Okay, so this is gonna be the setup. There's a couple of armored monsters. When I get to okay. We'll see how long this lasts. I might end up switching to H series. But, Undead Basher. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. We got some stuff that is not, in fact, covered under the werewolf transformation. Alright, let's do, but I did bring Sacred Paladin Scepter. So I think we should be good. I might also just get clapped by this guy. But anyways. Last week they released the Retro Nightmare set, and they also released. What they also released was the bomb spells, the 3 bomb spells. Did I not use? Is it armored? Oh, this monster is armored too, so I don't need the Sacred Paladin weapons, but I'm gonna use it because I need that heal for the last monster probably. So yeah, definitely not the easiest warring setup, given that we just died. But I'll keep trying it. I'm not too worried about the war kills. I'll get them eventually. Hold on. Okay, so we're back. I gave up on the off-meta warring setup. You can definitely do it, but it was just kind of annoying to get it going. I think with momentum, it would work pretty well, but there's enough things that aren't armored that you have to switch out of Rust Reaver all the time. You need a light weapon to deal with some undead. You take a lot of damage. Heavy SP costs without like the same massive Elecomp bonus as H series. So I just went with H series. Old reliable. I've got the Mammer, of course. Best warring weapon. Keep it on accurate mode for the beginning. Put on berserk mode after you get like 40 to 50 momentum. Call it a day. It's a wrap in the bag. But yeah, just a simple setup. Bog Shard gives 40 strength, and it doesn't cost enough SP that you can't use Celerity. If you use something like Erd of Osiris, you don't have enough SP to get the Celerity off of H series. There's other ways to do it for sure. I might actually change my face. I kind of don't like the Nightmare face too much when I'm not wearing the Nightmare armor. But anyways, Bog Shard is great for H series. So is like a Swordmaster emblem if you're using Pyromancer Bloodblade or another Bloodblade. There's lots of options. It's not really a big deal, but yeah, I'll just be swinging on with the Mammer Undead Mage. Oh, that's new. Oh yeah, lots of undead. I think you could swing it with Paladin and do light spellcasting, because pretty much everything I've seen is weak to light, except maybe the Priyanite. I didn't really check them. The Priyanite one, but the Priyanite's so low HP. Yeah, this guy's weak to light as well. But yeah, I think you could do Paladin, like overwhelming light spam, but I'm not positive. Either way, regardless, warring setup is pretty simple. Most players don't really struggle with warring setups anymore. Running strength, charisma, and luck. Charisma for the boosters, luck for the initiative and damage, strength obviously for the damage in each series. You can totally war with other setups, but this is probably the simplest, quickest one-shotting method that you'll have. Okay, so the things I want to talk about, a couple things. I want to talk about the Nightmare armor. So it just got released last week. I made a little video on it. I didn't explore the dodge lash portion of it, so I won't talk about that too much. But the armor is great. It's got backlash, it's got dodge lash, it's got quick cast celerity, it's got quick cast alien power, it's got auto inflict poison, which is really expensive, but it's got a ton of tools, and it's just cool. With all that being said, I want to talk about it critically, because, and especially like the staff treatment of the armor critically. One, it's power creep. Power creep's not horrific necessarily, and if they are going to power creep stuff, I love that they're doing it in a free-to-play accessible way with a retro set, because retro sets are cool. They deserve to be really good. Retro Golden is really good. Nightmare is really good. I hope that Retro Rain or Retro whatever they do next are also going to be really good. I don't know if it's called the Rain set. I thought it was the Rain set. When I was a kid, I called it the Regan set. No joke. Yeah, Death Knight. Apparently this guy still tanks your hits because he has like 60 to energy, but I'm not too worried about it. Godscourge Husk. I don't think this guy's a problem. Regardless, I'm a little against power creep. People know that. I'm very public about it, but they went a little too crazy with this armor. If you'll remember, on release, it had Elecomp to its ice damage on backlash. Now, the logic behind Elecomp is you expected to use an ice armor against an ice monster. So if you have an ice skill on that armor, normally you're expected to use a fire weapon against an ice monster. So because you're using an ice armor with an ice skill, the ice skill gets boosted damage. That is the set in stone logic of Elecomp. It's been that way since they made armor skills with Elecomp. Way back when, in, I don't know, like 2010, whatever. Take a sip of water while you're warring. Stay hydrated. Okay. Hydration break aside. That is the logic behind Elecomp. So, the reasoning for the backlash losing its Elecomp is incorrect as of that precedent, because the reasoning for the backlash losing the Elecomp is because against fire monsters you get increased output from backlash because it's ice damage, so you're dealing more damage with ice against fire monsters. That's normal, but because you're in an ice armor against a fire monster, you're also taking more damage because you have low fire resistance. Now that makes sense. Oh, what the hell? 4k HP? Oh, the other one I thought must have been low level. So you're taking more damage because you're fighting a fire monster. So the backlash is based off incoming damage. So, of course, you'll deal more damage, but the Elecomp also deals more damage, and that Elecomp multiplies that increased damage you get from taking increased damage. Now, I said damage like a million times. Basically, Cam hit the nail on the head with the explanation. You double dip on your Elecomp values against fire monsters. So they removed the Elecomp on the ice backlash. So what does that mean? Basically it means that it's illogical when you think about the reason for Elecomp, which is to deal good damage, or expected damage, mathematically at least, against monsters of the same element of the armor. They nerfed it because it double dips against fire monsters, but you're not supposed to, again, by the game assumptions, use it against fire monsters. You're supposed to use it against ice monsters, and against ice monsters it doesn't double dip. So this changed Elecomp breaks that logic. Now, you might not think that's a problem. You might think, well, it was too OP, it was challenging Doomlight for Backlash Supremacy, and we can't have the package that is keeping AQ afloat. Listen, hear me out. I think Doomlight's probably the most bought package by like a margin of 3. Most expensively bought package. So I think it makes the most money compared to any other package by a margin of 3. You can quote me on that. I'm like 90% sure I'm right. Anyways, Doomlight's keeping AQ afloat. They probably shouldn't power creep it with a free-to-play item, because that would just be really bad business sense, regardless of your game inclinations. Like, I think power creep items in free-to-play are fine, but like realistically, they don't want people not to buy Doomlight. But they nerfed the Elecomp for using it against opposite element monsters, even though the assumption behind Elecomp is to use it against the same element. Now, why is this a problem? I think it's a problem because the armor I'm using right now, H-Series. Now, the assumption with Elecomp is that you're dealing increased damage because you're attacking a monster of the same element. So H-Series, you're expected to use it against an energy monster. So you deal increased damage, like 1.9 times damage, because you're using it against an energy monster. And you're going to deal less damage because it's energy. That's the assumption. But now, with the precedent set by Retro Nightmare, Elecomp might be assumed to be used against opposite element monsters. Let's go through the assumptions for Elecomp. If you're using it against opposite element monsters, you take more damage because you're in the wrong element armor, and you deal way more damage because you're hitting on the right resist with a massive damage multiplier. The issue is, when you apply this logic to H-Series, the numbers don't pan out. Because look, I just attacked a monster with energy. Now I can switch to whatever armor I want, and Dark Shield, like Dark Shield, Dark Armor, and take normal damage. So because H-Series has celerity built in, logically, it should not get Elecomp on its first attack if you're attacking with the celerity toggled on. Let me just say that again. If we assume that Elecomp armors are supposed to be used against monsters of the opposite element, or assumed to be used against monsters of the opposite element, H-Series should not have Elecomp on its first turn attack, because you can immediately switch armors, and the assumption is that you get the damage boost because you take extra damage, but in H-Series you get celerity, so you don't take extra damage, you can just switch to a tank armor. On the second attack, yes, you should get Elecomp, but on the first attack, like the one I just did, before my second turn from celerity, I should get no Elecomp, I should do normal damage, going by this new Retro Nightmare standard. It's not the only armor that does this. The Nightmare Plate from Frostville should also apply to this. Pretty much any armor with built-in celerity should apply to this logic. So this change to Nightmare could nerf a bunch of other armors. I paused for a moment, but it could end up nerfing a bunch of other armors because of this logic. And listen, I'm a simple man. I like to click attack and win. I love H-Series. And I don't think they should be nerfed just because they have celerity. Like, what are other celerity armors? To be honest, there's not that many with built-in celerity, but I mean, if you go even further with the logic, then you could say that, oh, if the player has celerity, they shouldn't get Elecomp. So they could just, like, I don't know if they can even code this because their game is coded like ass, respectfully. And everything's like hard-coded in. But I can imagine a logic system where if the player has celerity, they shouldn't get Elecomp to any of their effects, because they're circumventing the downside of Elecomp in this new assumption where you're fighting a monster of the opposite element. So that's why I think nerfing the armor or changing the armor because of what it can do against opposite element monsters is a problem, because the implications for the rest of the game are pretty significant and pretty detrimental. And it's just inconsistent with literally every other armor. They just switched up the logic because Backlash is too strong. like my brother in Christ. It's not that it deals ice damage, it's that it's backlash, and the damage that it says on your character page, like 40%, is actually like 300%. Like, that's the issue. If you want to nerf backlash. Don't change one free-to-play armor. Maybe I shouldn't say that. That's an unpopular take, but either way, I think it's a bad way to handle it. And I think they should acknowledge that it breaks assumptions of Elecomp and how it's normally calculated. Now again, I think it's fine that they nerfed the armor because it was competing with Doomlight on release, and Doomlight keeps AQ afloat. But I think that the logic behind the change is not good, and that is kind of an issue to me. So that's my feelings on the backlash change, Elecomp in general. There are a lot of good counter arguments. Chaotic wrote a really good forum post talking about how with backlash Elecomp skills, you can get like 5x damage, whereas with normal Elecomp skills, you can only get a max of like 1.9 or 2.0 damage. And Chaotic was kind of spitting. Like, nobody's wrong that Elecomp's backlash is really, really strong. I just think they handled it badly. Like, maybe they should have thought about the item they were releasing before they released it. Because they had time. Like, they had the faces ready like 5 months ago. Like, I'm just saying, that's not a good piece of evidence, but like, I just think they should have thought about it ahead of time and realized, like, one, we already have an ice armor with ice backlash. It doesn't have Elecomp. Should it have Elecomp? I don't know. That's what I'm debating. But two, do we need another ice armor with backlash? And like, I know it's thematic with Nemesis. Okay, I'm done talking about Nemesis backlash, but I think it was handled clumsily, and that's unfortunate, and I don't love that for the game. Secondly, I want to talk about the third skill, the 2-turn celerity skill. For the player and the monster, that also applies a alien power to the player and a siphon poison to the monster. See, if I hit this thing, it's a sneak. Oh, get wrecked, idiot. Get rolled. Okay, so the armor skill costs 850 SP. Now let's get a full SP bar and see how much it takes away. Because I'm curious, I haven't actually thought about this. So if you have a completely full SP and you use Nightmare, you end up with 620 SP at max level. At lower levels, the numbers are different, but the evaluation is the same, obviously. That's like it's more than half your SP bar. That is a crazy amount to spend on anyone's skill. Now you might say, overcharged spells, though. Overcharged SP spells, a lot of them pay with HP. Not a lot of them. A couple of them. Overwhelming Light. Necromancers are hugely expensive in the commander form. Ooh, Blade of Law chest. How nice. Overcharged SP spells, they take a lot of your SP, but they also do damage. Like, the Nightmare skill gives you celerity and does no damage. So you have at maximum 600 SP left to deal damage with. And like, it's just a massive SP cost, and it's pretty much just Essence Orb fuel. And the staff has gone on record saying they intend to nerf Essence Orb, or at least some of the staff has. And I don't think that Essence Orb, I don't think that Essence Orb should be nerfed, because I think that the damage to the player base would be significant because of various factors. Game balance wise, yes, I think Essence Orb should be nerfed. Realistically, like game state, game culture wise, I think Essence Orb shouldn't be nerfed. Regardless, if they're going to nerf Essence Orb, why are you making a skill that costs 850 SP quick cast? Like how are people going to afford that without abusing SP regen methods? Like, you can use Fang, Creature 72, and Optigo, like Brady loves to do, Brady Simmons, Anodyne. Or you can use Infinitive Staff, which is also going to get nerfed. Or you can use Essence Orb, or you can use Soul Gauntlet, like, once. And that's pretty much it. Like, or you can use Mosquito Boosting. Like all of these methods are scuffed. And potentially, like, due for nerfs. Like, and that's why I'm saying, like, why are you releasing an 850 SP skill? because if you want to nerf these crazy OP SP regain methods, you shouldn't be releasing skills that cost more than half of your SP bar, because the player base won't be able to use them in maybe 6 months time or maybe a year's time. Like, they'll just become irrelevant because they'll cost your entire SP bar. It's just too much. So that's my opinion on that, and I wouldn't be complaining about it if it wasn't a repeated problem. They also just made the Stalwart Starfish shield. Oh, I think I have enough momentum to go on Berserk mode. Anyways, not important. They just made the Stalwart Starfish shield. And it costs like 800 SP or like 790 SP as well. So like, clearly somewhere along the line, the staff thinks that players have infinite SP. Like, I know it's only 2 items. Let me go actually through some recent releases and see if there's any other big offenders. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so I went back a little further. The sunscreen miscs that dropped, they cost 700 SP for their skill. The Jubilant Light of Pride sword or axe, it can cost like 600 plus SP for its paralyzed toggle against the wrong elements. I think the staff, if they truly want to nerf OP resource regain methods, which I think would be good for the game because it would force players to like use more creative strategies, rather than just spam Essence Orb or spam Infinitive Staff. And I think that would be good for the game, I really do, because it would make you more interested and struggle more and like have more reward when you actually win. And that's my opinion, not everyone agrees. But if they really want to do that, then they need to stop releasing 700 SP cost items. Like it's like there's not much consideration put into the item releases, and that's something I'll talk about at a future date, because like I have factual evidence there's not much consideration or testing put into the items. But regardless, not to be dramatic, I really think that there is maybe a disconnect, or maybe like a reality check that needs to happen with these crazy high SP cost skills if the staff really wants to nerf resource regeneration. If they don't, then no problem. We can just keep spamming Essence Orb and keep going crazy with the regen, keep going crazy with the Nightmare Celerity, whatnot, and go to town. I think that's fine. But if the staff really does want to stick to their guns and nerf OP items like Essence Orb, and again, it wouldn't be like Essence Orb would be ass. It would just give you 400 SP a turn instead of like any amount. But like, if they do want to cut down on these resource regeneration loops, they can't be releasing 700 SP cost items. That's my opinion. Yeah. Okay, so another thing I want to complain about, and I've been doing a little complaining this video. In case you've seen my other warring background videos, kind of par for the course for my warring videos. Warring brings out the boring in me, but jokes aside, I like to mess around. I like to tell jokes. I want to talk about the Mermazon item set. So we have the pet, the misc, the shield, the armor, and not the armor, sorry, the weapons. I think that's it. Is that everything? Yeah, that's everything. And the faces. The faces are fine. Not really relevant. But every item except the weapon is a complete clone. Now let's start with the shield. It started out, I think it's going to be changed eventually. I actually don't love the way they... Well, we'll see how it's changed. I won't complain about it until it's done. But the shield is literally just a copy-pasted, double-cost Shadowrend membrane shield. The reason I know it's copy-pasted is because it uses Z-token SP costs, like the Shadowrend membrane does, because it's a package. Or whatever reason, they both use Z-token SP costs, if I'm not mistaken. So it is copy-pasted, it's the exact same effect. Did people ask for a regen shield on the forums? Yes, they did, and that's good that they support the player in like choosing things that they want, or thematically similar to what they asked for. But it's an exact copy-paste of a previous item, with one number multiplied by 2, the cost and the effect. And they changed the duration too, but like, it's the same item. The Mermazon Crest misc, like, it's a boring misc, it's a healing resist misc, I think that's fine, but it is like, it's not an interesting item, it doesn't do anything special, and I do like the misc, I really do. But But they also, I think they picked some random ass stats. Hold on, let me check. I want to make sure I'm not spitting lies out here. But by the way, I'll put the list that I'm looking at in the description. I'm using my fantastic release cover. My 2023 AQ releases Google Doc. Everybody should look at it when they want to know something that's happened in the last 6 months. Updated on a semi-weekly basis. Anyways, shoutouts aside to myself on my own channel. I'm a silly guy. It gives endurance and luck. Like, endurance gives healing resistance, but like it's 2.5% for 50. And like luck, like, listen, like, I'm hating a little, but the misc is objectively boring. It's objectively not doing too much. The Sea Turtle Defender, they took the effects off of the New Year's Light Ball, which is still bugged, by the way, to not work correctly. It's been like 2 years. Maybe I could get around to it. Who knows? They took the effect off the New Year's Light Ball, and what's it called? The little dark Greenbow from the Yogur Memorial Shop. They just copy pasted, slid them both over, and turned it to water. I don't know if that's a huge problem because both those effects are cool. But what is objectively true is that 3 of the items in the set are just clones of other items with like mildly swapped stats, mildly swapped numbers, or swapped elements. And it just feels kind of bad that the free-to-play community set got very little effort, and the token top 50 dono set will get a lot of effort. And like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't pay for higher quality art items. Like, I think that makes perfect sense. If you donate a bunch of tokens, you deserve a very quality item. But I think it just comes off kind of iffy that the free-to-play set is a Clone War set, and the token set will be designed to be unique and different, presumably in A. Maybe the token set is going to be a Clone War set too, and in that case, my bad, people. My bad for the assumption, but I would be very surprised to see more than like 1 or 2 item clones in the token set, and the free-to-play set already has 3, kind of, not 4. The weapon is unique, I'll admit. I think having 2 skills and 2 toggles is very cool, but I do have that issue with the Mermazon set. Again, I'm glad they're making these items, and you can tell with the Parian Crest clone too, the Samaratsi Oni mask, the Iceborne Shard, Iceborne Visage. That's a clone as well. So like, dev time is pushed in some way. So I'm making all these clones for free-to-play items, and it just feels kind of bad, I think. Especially for a community set, which I would hope would be cool. I wish they'd given it more time. I think next year they'll know to give themselves more time. I think next year don't release them day by day. Like, if your item needs some time to make it interesting, release it a week late. Like, the item can, like, we're not in a hurry. I mean, people were in a hurry, but I think if they hadn't promised to release it the day we hit the threshold, they would have had a lot more leeway to, and I'm not the only guy saying this is very simple. If you give yourself more leeway, you have more time to make a non-clone item. I think that should be the goal. I think that should be the goal. More unique items. Some clones here and there are fine, but a little bit of uniqueness would be great, I think. So let's see if I have any more topics to discuss. The war is pretty simple. I don't know how I feel about wars, just that like, the meta is now H series, and the staff is aware of that, so they make no monsters with negative energy resistance or really low energy resistance. I don't know, I think it would be interesting to shake up the meta. Maybe give everything like 200 melee blocking for no reason. I don't know, just make people do something that's not H series. Is that a good way to do it? No, because other people wanted to use warrior builds and farm normally, but like, I'm just saying, you could do something. Like, you could change up the meta maybe. Have an energy war. I don't know. Like, obviously this war is thematically like windish and undead because it's like undead hordes and night God Scourge hordes. But I don't know. I'm just saying it would be cool if there was a meta that wasn't H series. But again, some people really love H series, and that's fine. I'm kind of just complaining just to complain. I also want to mention the 3 bomb spells. The drop the B bomb, Drop the Mope, and Manisplosion. I bought Manisplosion yesterday. Wizard Games was a nostalgia blast, by the way. That was quite fun. But the spells still do drain your entire resource bar, even if you're above the max limit of the spells. I really think that should be changed. Someone mentioned some logic for it. It didn't seem all too reasonable to me, but hey. If the staff want to make you have to be careful with your resources, totally fine. I'm going to try and build up some strategies. How to drain your mana, maybe quick cast, maybe just efficiently. So that you can use these spells without wasting a bunch of resources. But either way, I think they're cool. I still haven't played around with them. I said in my last video that I was going to do a video in 2 days, or 2 or 3 days on the spells. My bad, people. Didn't have time. But I am excited for them. I'm ready to test them out soon. Also, I might record a couple of Yolger only videos this weekend. One for like the Werewolf Advanced Quest, maybe one for the Werepire Advanced Quest. I can't remember if I've done that. One for the April Fool's event from last year, because I never covered that. But either way, that's my little plan. And why have I been so busy lately? I've just been working. 9 to 5, not actually 9 to 5. I've been working at different hours, but yeah, my summer work is a little more draining in some ways than my main year work. So I've been busy. Ran out of steam to do videos for a bit, but we'll see if I can keep it up this week. Getting a little more used to it, so that's been good. I really enjoy my work, by the way. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I've had less time for my Adventure Quest hobbies. Not a huge deal. But that's where I've been. That's how I feel about the Nightmare Armor, the Mermazon set, and SP cost items, as well as that's pretty much it. Pretty much all I talked about. If you listened to me ramble for this long, thank you. Appreciate you. I would love to hear some discourse in the comments, because I have a lot of strong opinions. Well, not strong opinions. I have a lot of opinions, and a lot of people disagree with me, and I think that's great, because if one person made all the opinions or all the decisions for a game, it'd be a pretty ass game for the average player. I think that's very true for Adventure Quest. I gotta drink some more water. Also, this is a separate topic, but I am after the gold donation, I'm planning to do a series where I build up an account from scratch. Not from level 0, but from level 150. Build a new playstyle, like a new build, like Beast Mage or Warrior or Ranger or whatever, or Pure Mage, from nothing. So let me know what build you think would be the coolest. I kind of want to do Beast Mage, because I think Beast Mage is the most interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on, free to play. Necromancer is really fun. But I could be convinced to do other builds. Just let me know what you think. If you have strong opinions on what build I should do. And it can kind of serve as a guide as well. But we'll see. We'll see if I end up doing that. I might get too lazy. Because the way I want to do it, it's going to be kind of like a long time investment in the beginning. But we'll see. We'll see. Also, if I'm going to do a Beast Mage, I should really wait until after the stat revamp, because it'll make Beast Mages so much stronger. But we'll see. I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I have for today. Kind of a ramble video. Hope that's okay with you guys. I'm excited to see this war progress for lore reasons and for the item reasons. Glad we're getting a sword and a shield, or a weapon and a shield. I don't have any guesses on any of the uses of the weapon or shield yet. But I would be... Actually, I'll make a guess right now. I think one of them will have a poison effect because the God Scourge stuff, and one of them will have a mana drain effect, again, because of the God Scourge stuff. If you drain their mana, they take more damage. So fighting God Scourge with mana drain seems like it would make sense. See if they build that into the quest or not. Yeah, those are my guesses for the items. I did a lot of talking. Thank you guys again for watching. And I'll see you guys later. Hopefully in a couple days, and not in a week this time, but we'll see. No promises. Alright. You guys are awesome. Have a great day. Take good care of yourself. Spread some peace and love. Drink lots of water. That's all. Bye bye.